Well, hello everyone and welcome to a big review. It is in fact a double review. It is the Lezyne Mega XL and the Mega C GPS units. That's right, it's a double review. Before we get started though, just a couple of housekeeping matters. There are full written reviews in the description below to La Velocita, one for each unit. So if you want more details, head on down into those links in the description. And before I start, big thank you to the Australian distributor of Lezyne, Monza Imports, for sending me these to review. Whew. Get ready, this is a big one. The Mega XL tips the scales at 83 grams with 48 hours of claimed maximum battery life and a claimed maximum storage of up to 800 hours of ride data. It's about the size of a Garmin Edge A20. The Mega C, on the other hand, is more of a Wahoo Element Bolt Garmin Edge 520 style. It weighs in at 73 grams, has a 32-hour claimed battery life, a lovely color screen, the same 800 hours of ride data storage, and both units share a barometer, an accelerometer, Bluetooth and ANT+ connectivity, turn-by-turn navigation, offline maps and rerouting, text, email, and phone notifications when paired to a phone, structured training integration with today's plan, and training peaks. Oh, and of course, Strava Live segment integration. Now, unboxing the units is quite unexciting. You get a unit, an X-Lock mount, a charging cable, and a quick start guide. And that's it. Pretty simple. But that's cool, it reduces the faff between getting your unit and using your unit. All that's left now is to fire it up and set it up. It's easy just using the device, but it's fantastic using the phone app. If you've never set up your GPS with a phone app, it is a million times easier. You can choose the number of data screens you want, you can add and change bike profiles, you can change all of your data pages, you can change all kinds of stuff with the app. Lezyne have hit an absolute home run with this. It is easy to use, very quick, and it's on par with what Wahoo have done with their platform, which I was very impressed with as well. This is one of the areas where Garmin is getting absolutely left in the dark ages. It's 2018 and you have to have good smartphone integration. So great job, Lezyne, your setup system is excellent, but actually using the unit itself can get a little more complicated. Now, the menu structure itself is really nice and easy to navigate, and everything's kind of exactly where you think it'll be. So you've got pretty much a menu item that can control everything from within the unit, so you don't have to use the phone if you don't want to. It's a pretty easy and intuitive menu structure, so no real problems there. Now, things do get confusing because of the button mapping, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first is that there's only 4 buttons. Come back, backlight. Compare that to a Garmin Edge 520, which has 7 buttons, or a Wahoo Element Bolt that has 6. So each button has to do between 2 and 4 different functions. So this button here does on, back, and data page up. This button does enter and backlight. This button does menu data page down, but menu item up. And this one is start lap and menu item down. So it's quite tough to remember everything that happens with these units. And things get extra confusing when you're using the Mega XL on landscape mode, because the orientation of the screen has changed, but the button mapping is still the same. So you're kind of having to go through your data pages with these 2 buttons now, and then go up and down menu items with these 2 buttons. And the menus themselves aren't consistent either. So if you hold down the menu, it's now on its side, and you're still having to navigate sort of like this, which is very difficult for obvious reasons. But then there's a second menu called the pause menu. So if you hold down this, it brings up the pause menu, which is in landscape, which you then still navigate with the same button mapping. And then it gets even more confusing when you go to main menu from here, and it's the right way up. So you've got this main menu that appears in this orientation, but only through the pause menu. And if you go back and go directly to the menu, it's that way around. So this creates quite a lot of confusion sometimes when you're out on the road and you're trying to change something. So let's compare the 2 unit screen. The Mega XL gives you just black and white, whereas the Mega C gives you color. And that color is used quite well. It acts as a border around your data fields that's colorized to show you what the data field is. So a heart rate data field is red, a power data field is orange, a climbing or ascending data field is brown, and speed data field are green. It also works well with navigation. So the breadcrumb trail ahead of you is green, and the trail behind you that you've already covered is blue, and it looks really nice. The screen on the Mega XL is actually quite a lot better than the screen on the Mega C. It's not just bigger, but it is incredibly bright, especially when you put it next to some of its competition. So here I have an interesting side-by-side with all of the units that I had on hand, and these are just all of the screens with no backlight turned on. So we have the giant Neos Track, Edge 520, Mega C, and Mega XL. And look at how much brighter that is. That's how bright it is all the time. And it shows you just how good a job Lezyne has done with the screen. It's so bold and so vivid, and it looks awesome. So when I say the screen is really, really great, that's why. I mean, it's really great without the backlight turned on. Interestingly though, the Mega XL has quite a weak backlight. It's just not really that strong. It's not a huge deal because if you're riding in proper pitch darkness, you don't need a very strong backlight to see. You only need a small amount of light on your unit. So it's fine, it's not really a big problem. Now the screen on the Mega C is not as good as the Mega XL. The colors are nice, yes, but from a vividness perspective, it is miles behind the Mega XL. It's just a much more pale, but it is far better than the Mega XL when the backlight is turned on. It looks absolutely beautiful. I really enjoy using this thing with the backlight on 75% or higher. It looks great. So from a screen quality perspective, you get one of the best in the Mega XL and a pretty fine one with the Mega C until you turn the backlight on and you get a fantastic screen. So let's talk about the mount options that you get. And in the box, you get the standard bar and stem mount. It's a quarter turn, but the interface is an X as distinct from Garmin's system. You sort of push the device down into the mount and twist it to lock it in place, and it's fine. Aesthetically speaking, it's not the prettiest though, because it's a tall unit in a tall mount, and it looks a bit weird when it sits on your bars. Now I was sent an out front mount to use with these units as well. It replaces two of your stem bolts and it has two rails that are extended forwards. There's then plates that sort of clamp around it with the unit interface in the top, and I chose a GoPro adapter for the bottom. It's quite an expensive unit at about $69.99 Australian dollars. Problem is that the GoPro mount on the bottom won't let anything thread into it. So trying to put the thumb screw in just won't work. It just spins and never ever tightens. Now I'll show you specifically what I mean by that. Here is the thumb screw, here is the mount. You put it in and you twist and you twist and you twist and nothing. Just, you can push it, you can do whatever you want, but nope, nothing. Won't thread at all. Really strange. So it's hard to recommend the investment based on my experience with it. There is a standard 25 Australian dollar out front mount that Lezyne do make that I just bought from a local shop, and it is excellent. So let's talk sensor connectivity, and both units will connect to things via ANT+ and Bluetooth. Starting with the Mega C, this connected to absolutely everything with no worries, including my Garmin heart rate, cadence, speed sensor. It also connected over Bluetooth to my Stage's power meter with no problems at all, ever. Everything stayed connected and there weren't any dropouts. So really nothing more to say, connected to everything just fine. The Mega XL, on the other hand, was quite temperamental. It connected to my Garmin ANT+ sensors fine, the heart rate monitor, cadence and speed sensor, but it had a really rocky relationship with my Stage's power meter that was connected over Bluetooth. For some reason, every few minutes or so, the power meter would just drop out for about 10 to 30 seconds. It would disappear as a connected device and you just wouldn't get any data. Then it would just reappear suddenly. And that's pretty annoying if you're trying to ride to power or train to power. You need that data. And another thing that happened 3 times during my test period is that the device just disconnected from everything. All of my sensors and my phone, and it wouldn't reconnect to any of them. I had to turn the unit off, then on again, and it was fine. But again, that's annoying. Now, it's such a new unit and it's only been on the market for a few weeks, it's too early to tell whether this is a widespread problem or whether it's just this particular unit. Hey everyone, just gonna cut in real quickly here to give you an update on this issue. There was a firmware update that happened between receiving the device and doing the review. I have since updated the firmware on the Mega XL, but the disconnection issue with this stage continues. So unfortunately, I just don't have an explanation or a solution to the problem as of right now. I'm in talks with Lezyne though, so we'll see what happens. So I wouldn't tell you not to get a Mega XL based on my experience because it's just one unit. It's just too small a sample size to make those sort of decisions. But it is worth mentioning that I had problems with this and absolutely none with this. One of the most hyped features with both units is the battery life. The claim numbers for each one make them leaders in their category by a huge margin. The thing is though, I don't believe in doing maximum battery life testing. It usually involves turning off everything to stretch the battery as far as you can, and who rides like that? I don't ride like that. I'm pretty sure most of you don't ride like that. That said, the battery life on the XL is mega. I did a ride yesterday that went for about 6 hours with over 5 hours and 40 minutes of moving time. I had a route going, but I didn't have turn-by-turn directions. I had the device Bluetooth tethered to my phone the whole time. I had my power meter connected and my heart rate monitor connected. And look how much battery is still left. I can't give you an exact number because it's obviously a bar and not a percentage, but that's gotta be what, 90%? Yeah, so it fully recorded a ride of that length and still has that much battery left. That is awesome. So I can't verify the 48-hour battery life, but I can tell you that under heavy use, it has a huge battery life. Now the Mega C, I did something along those lines as well, but just on a shorter scale. So I went for a mountain bike ride that went for about 5 hours. It was Bluetooth connected to my phone. I used a heart rate monitor. It did some navigation. I used some backlight, and it still had between 80 and 85% battery when I got home. And that's very impressive. There's an impressive array of mapping and route functions with the Lezyne platform. You can get a huge array of offline maps onto the device using the GPS route website. You drag a box over an open street map display and then export a file that you then drag and drop onto your device. It's not an infinitely scalable box, but it can get very, very big and cover hundreds of square kilometers. And the beautiful thing is you can keep doing it. So if you go somewhere else, you just need to use a computer to drag a new box over a new area and then export that to your device. That means that you will get offline maps on your GPS. It's a great system and I love it. I remember the bad old days of having to buy friggin' Mac packs from Garmin and it was like 80 bucks each. None of that anymore. It's all free and it's all accessible. Now, route creation, you have a couple of options. The first is the GPS route website. And the route builder in there is not very good. You use up to 25 waypoints to create the route, and then the website will try and link them all together. So you don't see the route as it's being built. You just let it process and hope that it all works, and it often doesn't. Sometimes it just can't really figure out where you're trying to go between the waypoints you've given it, and it might give you really weird directions. Also, 25 waypoints is just not enough. Some rides need a lot more than that. The Lezyne GPS Ally phone app, though, is very good for route creation. You just scroll around and tap points to add to a route, and you see it get built in real time. You can just keep tapping away until you have exactly the route that you want. As soon as it's finished, you just hit go and it'll send it to your device and you follow it. You get full turn-by-turn directions and it all just works great. I really like that system. One particular ride, I was about to head through some mountain bike trails that I had no idea where to go. So before I headed in, I pulled out my phone, knocked together a route in about 2 seconds, and boom, it took me through the whole place. It was fantastic. Great system, really enjoy it. The third and final option is to use addresses or to drop pins as start and end point, and it'll make a route for you. That does not work very well because it's not very well optimized for cycling. So you can get sent all kinds of places that you don't actually want to ride a bike. So I tried it once and I don't recommend that one either. Now, once you've started a route, it'll give you a breadcrumb trail on your mapping page to show you where to go. And that's nice and easy to follow. If you're on the other pages, you can have directions pop up over the top of them. So if you're watching your data, it'll beep, it'll give you an arrow, and it'll give you a countdown to your next turn. That can be turned off if you don't want it to be that intrusive. intrusive. There's also a dedicated direction screen that has an arrow and a countdown on it all the time, as well as some speed and movement data at the top if you just want to watch where you need to go. One thing that is strange about Lezyne's system is that you can't activate a route from within the GPS unit itself. I went looking through the menus to see if I could manually find a route that I drag and dropped into the device, and there just doesn't seem to be any option to do that. So you have to activate them through your phone. That might be inconvenient for some. Didn't really bother me because I always use my phone with the device anyway. Just something to be aware of. So looking across the full mapping and navigation that the Lezyne systems offer, and it is damn good. Full navigation, turn-by-turn directions, route creation in the app that can get sent straight to the device, and seemingly free and infinite maps wherever you want to ride around the world. You just need to keep dragging new boxes and sending the files over to your device. So well done, Lezyne. This is one of the strongest points of the unit. Now, the Lezyne will do Strava live segment integration. You connect your accounts and sync all the live segments to your device using the phone app, and then once you roll through the segment, you get tracking against your previous record. Totally fine, works well. Just to note though that sometimes if a segment has been marked as hazardous, it won't give you tracking against your PR, it'll just give you sort of this stopwatch sort of screen here. I got confused because this was the first live segment screen that I saw, and I thought that live segments just didn't work. Turns out they do, they work just fine, so if you're into live segments, the Lezynes will cater for you. Now, those structured training nerds among you will be happy to hear that you can use the Lezyne units with Training Peaks and Today's Plan. Once you've created a workout in those services, you use your phone app to send it to the GPS unit. The unit will then ask you whether you'd like to start the workout, you say yes, and it'll guide you through all the steps of the workout, from warm up to efforts and cool down and all that sort of stuff. It gives you a readout of either heart rate, power, or both, and gives you sort of a timer to show you how long this particular phase of the workout is going to last. And it works absolutely fine. Once you've finished your workout and uploaded your activity, it will send your activity over to those services that you used, and you can do all your data crunching and geeking out from that. Now, once you're done riding and you need to upload, you can do that via Bluetooth through the Lezyne GPS route phone app. Most of the time it'll upload automatically as soon as you've ended the activity, but if it doesn't, you just use the app, go onto the device and tell it to back it up to the cloud, where it'll share it across all of your connected services. So for me, it would go straight to Strava and straight to Training Peaks. You can also do manual file uploads if you want to plug it into a computer to do the same thing, and it'll go into the GPS route website. And just a note on the GPS route website, it's actually surprisingly good. If you want to do your post-ride analysis, it's sort of similar to what you find with Garmin Connect and Training Peaks. So let's see how the units sit in the marketplace, and they are incredibly competitive. Their Australian price is only $299. That's a full $100 less than the Wahoo Element Bolt, and $100 less than the Garmin Edge 520, a unit that's been around for nearly 4 years. So that is sort of how good these are. Now, there were some issues with the Mega XL, and I'm not sure what that means for all the other units that are out there in the world, but it's something to be aware of. Hopefully it's either an issue with this particular unit or it's a software issue that they can fix and not a more broad hardware problem. The Mega C, no problems at all. This thing behaved excellently the whole time I had it. So, which do you buy of the two if you want? The Mega XL. Again, I'm assuming that the problems I had with this one are either going to be fixed or are isolated to this unit itself, but if this thing sorts out its connectivity problems, it is a fantastic unit. The screen is brilliant. The features across the whole Lezyne suite are outstanding. The battery life is mega, and the storage is excellent. Lezyne has put together two units that are very, very complete. So anyone who's in the market for a new GPS unit, have a think about these. Well, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this massive review. It's been a big one. As I said, there's written reviews on La Velocita in the description if you want to go and do more research and geek out. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them in the comments below. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, watch more videos and all that sort of stuff.